Signing day, a lot of excitement, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm in the office. This is kind of the culmination of about 12 months worth of work. I mean, we sat here 1 year ago after spending 10 days on the road recruiting, kind of hurrying, hustling, bustling, trying to put a small class together, where today we've had the opportunity to kind of sit down and talk a little bit about 18 signees and then 3 early enrollees that we're going to have an opportunity to talk about today. So just a lot of positive things that are going on. Really excited about the job that the staff did, the response that we had from a lot of the high school coaches, from a lot of the players in the area. And as we've already started, as this has already begun, you've already started junior recruiting. So as you've got a lot of this going on, really you've spent a lot of time sitting and having the opportunity to watch film and start next year's list as we start getting ready for next year's recruiting. Happens earlier and earlier. And so many of these players that we're going to have a chance to talk a little bit about today made these decisions in June, July, August. We've had a good number of these players that have been committed now for quite some time. So when you sit down and you look at it, there's 2 new additions that we have that are going to be, that were walk-ons in this program that are now full scholarship players, one being Dante Aycock and the other being Bobby Evell. Both have been moved to scholarship status. I think obviously Bobby Evell earned that during the course of the year. I had the opportunity to call him on Christmas morning, let him know what we were going to do as kind of a Christmas gift to him, which also happened to be his father's birthday. So I think his father was a little more excited than he was, but it's a great story, the Bobby Evell story, and to see him have the opportunity to do what he's done and to be able to be rewarded, to be on scholarship, it's a really neat story out there. There were 3 new enrollees that came at mid-year I haven't really had the opportunity to talk about. One, a quarterback, and Matt Floyd, who's from the Panhandle. Really excited to get him here. I think when you look at the quarterback situation and the way it's changed in the last year, it started out with 1 quarterback on scholarship, and that was B.J. Daniels. And now all of a sudden you're looking at, there's been an addition of 3 with Bobby Evell, Jemias Gunsby a year ago, and Matt Floyd as an early enrollee. Really excited to have him here. And then the 2 linebackers, and Michael June, the only junior college player in the class, and then Posniak, 2 linebackers that we needed to add at mid-year. When you look at the depth chart, we graduated 3. We already felt like we were down numbers at linebacker, and so we've added 5 linebackers, with 2 of them having the opportunity to be here at mid-year. There's a lot of ways to break a group up. You can break it up by state. There's 16 players from the state of Florida. There are 3 from the state of Georgia, 1 from Alabama, and 1 from New Jersey. I made the comment when we first started here, this is where our focus was going to be, in the state of Florida, and really excited about those players that decided to be here. There's 11 on offense, there's 10 of them on defense, make up the 21 total. And then when you look at it from a position standpoint on offense, there were probably the biggest 2 needs that we had in this class, and the answers that we needed to solve were 5 offensive linemen and 5 linebackers. And that was the main emphasis in this recruiting class as we hit the road recruiting, and I feel like we did an awful lot to answer some of those questions. We signed 3 receivers, 1 running back, 1 tight end, and 1 quarterback. And on the defensive side of the ball, we signed 5 linebackers, we signed 3 defensive linemen, and we signed 2 defensive backs. It's kind of the breakdown of the class when you sit down and look at it as a whole. But overall, I think the main theme has been the growth of the university. I think it's the excitement and the leadership that Judy Ginshaft and Doug Willard provide to this university from a university and an athletic department standpoint, and I think a lot of that was felt. The things that you heard from the recruits and talking to them, they talked about the facilities, with all the new facilities being built, with the practice facilities. When you sit up in the offices and look over 2 new grass fields and a turf field being right outside the back window, and then driving in here, when you look at all the construction, and anytime there's growth, there's excitement and enthusiasm. That's one of the things that you see in the program right now. I think the way we finished the season definitely helped in the recruiting process. I think it cemented a lot of people's commitment, as there were new coaches being hired, not only around the state but around the country. There were a lot of people that tried to come back in on commitments. And to see them hold their ground and say, Coach, I want to be part of that family. I want to be part of what's going on in South Florida and Tampa right now. It's really part of the thing that gets us so excited, gets us so jacked right now about where we're going and the direction that we're heading in. I think our staff did a phenomenal job, a tireless job, and I do think we have a phenomenal staff of recruiters. They're not just good football coaches, but I think they're a phenomenal group of people that really do a great job of relating to young people, and I think it shows in this class. I could sit here and talk about every player individually, but I did that earlier and it took me 45 minutes. So I don't know that everybody wants me to turn and go through all of that, but I would be more than happy to answer any questions or talk about the direction of the program and some of the things that we're doing.
Skip, would you address Andre? I know you want to do it individually, but Andre and Ruben, two local guys who get to stay here, and two receivers that can help immediately.
And two guys, when you talk about this class, one of the things we keep talking about is the parental support that so many of these players have at home, the family structure that they have, and how many of them were in camp. And that, to me, is the biggest evaluation out of all of them. And you bring up Andre Davis and Ruben Gonzalez, two young men. I think back to them being here for junior day last February. I think back to seeing them in sling and shoot camp when they were here. Andre Davis out on those intramural fields out front making one-hand catches and acrobatic catches very similar to what he did in the state championship game. I look at how much he came over here, him sitting in the meeting, sitting there watching film with some of the coaches, because he came over here and was very active in this recruiting process, but wants to be here, look you in the eye, great young man, good student with where he is, fully qualified at this point. Both of those two are fully qualified at this point, and that's the other thing about this class. I think every one of these players, I think all of them, but one right now, are fully qualified. And the one that's not is 0.1% away in his GPA. I mean, so when you look at this class, this is a class of character, this is a class of talent, this is a class, I think, of academics. I think it's a great class. When I talk about those two, those are the things that keep ringing true. And you keep hearing me say that. But Andre Davis, very talented player. We felt like we needed size in this class. Both of them are 6'2". Both of them bring a little bit of size and an ability to make the circus catch, which is not something that we've done. We don't have a lot of size at receiver when we lost Love and Griffin a year ago, and I think that's definitely something they bring to the table. And Ruben Gonzalez is a guy right out here on these fields where the soccer stadium now sits, is watching him running around on those fields, and we watched him compete against Dr. Phillips, and the entire staff was there. And you watch him line up and compete against some of the guys there. Dr. Phillips, one of the more talented teams in the country, and yet he competed. Doesn't talk a lot of smack. He played his game. He's competitive. He has incredible desire, great work habits. But the biggest thing that came across to everybody is what type of competitor he is. Rick Smith wanted him at safety. Phil McGeegan wanted him a wide receiver, but I think right now with what he can bring to our receiver position is what excites me the most about him. And like you said, both of them are going to walk out of Raymond James Stadium and have 40 family and friends sitting there to greet them every time they walk out the door for 7 home games right here in their own backyard. And they believed in this program. They believed in what it stands for, where we're trying to go, how we're trying to get there. And I think they have a chance to not only come and be part of it, but they have a chance to really help continue to build this program to be one of the better programs, not only in the Big East, but in the country. Because I don't believe that we should take a back seat to anybody. And when you look at the stadium we play in, the facilities we have, I think they're as nice as anybody's in the country. You can't tell me there's a nicer practice facility than what just was erected right out there. We know Raymond James is one of the nicest NFL stadiums in the entire country. The quality of life and having the opportunity to live in Tampa, and you look at this university as one of the 9th largest universities in the entire country, I believe this program shouldn't take a back seat to anybody. And I think it shows in recruiting, and I think it was very evident with these players as they made their decisions and made their decisions over a lot of those programs that are, quote, quote, some of the top tier programs in the country.